Hello and welcome to my channel, I Win to Lose Gaming. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys a new tech for Neuvillette that honestly changes everything when it comes to Genshin Impact. So what is this tech? Well, I briefly showcased it in my Constellation Zero Neuvillette video, but I wanted to explore a bit further, so I've been doing some testing with it. And what is this tech? Well, it is the spin to win tech, where basically your goal is to spin the camera as fast as possible to hit as many enemies as possible with Neuvillette's laser. And in particular, it also helps if you have a mouse with higher DPI. So we can see there that I just did his laser with just regular DPI that I usually use. And this is with higher DPI. We can see that it pretty much is just swiveling so fast that it's basically nauseating at that point. My goal here is to figure out, is this tech worth actually doing, and when is it even good if it is worth doing? So let's go ahead and just get our baseline. Actually, before we start testing it, let's take a look at my Neuvillette's build. We can see here that he has over 100% crit rate, which is important. This allows us to have perfect consistency when it comes to the damage that he'll output with his laser beam, and not due to any crits. We have the Solar Pearl, which is also another unconditional weapon. The point of this is just to get a consistent test of his damage output. For his artifacts, he's just using the 2-piece Meretrocity Hunter. He's at Constellation 0, and of course, his talents are still at 10, 10, and 10. Let's go ahead and try this out against our Registfine friend. Oops, we just wasted one of Bennett's E's. So we're going to start this off with no spin to win strategy. We're going to play like a normal human being and just do this laser blast. And let's see. We can see here that this test brings the Cryo Registfine's life roughly around the Y and the O. Okay, so now I've cranked up my mouse's DPI, and we're going to start doing the spin to win strategy. And we can see that it definitely hit quite a few times, at least 6 times. Let's go ahead and try this out a couple more times to get a better baseline. In this case, you could hear that 7 of the ticks actually connected with the Registfine, and this has been pretty consistent with my testing. Generally 6 to 8 ticks of Neuvillette's laser out of the 8 will hit the enemy instead of, well, the usual 8. Now, when would you actually want to use this? If we actually look at the real range of his laser, we can see that it's absolutely massive. And basically what this allows Neuvillette to do, it allows him to hit everything in his giant laser radius 6 to 8 times, which is absolutely insane. So it converts his like kind of, you know, guaranteed 8 hits against a single enemy into roughly 75% or more perfect AoE damage in this massive, massive circle. So let's go ahead and find a situation where it's actually viable. And this situation in Abyss Floor 9-1 is a pretty good chamber to actually test this out, because we have enemies spawning all around us. So here, let's go ahead and do this. We're gonna open up with Zhongli's shield so we don't get interrupted. And now crank up the DPI. It's time to spin. So we have one laser. We can hear all the enemies dying and getting hit. And look at that. We cleared that in under 2 lasers. So you can see here that just how fast I'm spinning, which with 16,000 DPI, just moving my mouse barely spins Nilo like this. Our poor Nilo. Actually, she's not spinning. We're spinning. I'm sorry, guys, for those of you that might not tolerate that type of motion sickness very well. But anyway, let's go ahead and do this run now without any spinning. So here we go. We're going to play like a normal person would. Use his burst, and now we're going to try to position our laser to hit multiple enemies. So there we go. We can see that we managed to clear out that first wave right there, and we have another wave spawning. I'm going to try to position myself to also hit that wave in the back, but we can see here that we're already 3 lasers in, and we still have not completed it yet. So here we go. Laser number 4, and finally we completed it. So I've edited the clips side by side for you guys to take a look at as well. And we can see here that with these 16,000 DPI, you don't even have to move with Neuvillette. As long as the enemies are within radius, we're just spinning to winning. and it cleared it in 10 seconds and 38 frames. Excuse me, I'm still recovering from the cold. Whereas the other one managed to, it's still going now, and it finally managed to complete it in 22 seconds and 21 frames. So again, when might you actually want to do this? It's going to be against spread out enemies that spawn in front and behind you, and perhaps it's difficult to actually venti all of them up. And besides, you don't even have to use venti. You can literally just spin with Neuvillette instead. Now, one big weakness of this is that you can't apply Viridescent Veneer's swirl onto the enemy. If obviously all the enemies are spawned all around you and you're literally just spinning, you aren't going to be able to tag them and then hit them with Animo in order to swirl. I think there's definitely going to be situations where this is optimal to literally spin like an absolute madman. So one important thing I did want to bring up is that MiHoYo might actually nerf this or change this. And the reason why I say that is because I don't really think that this is an intended gameplay mechanic for you to spin and basically have perfect radial AoE with him. Something about the coding of his laser allows it to hit all the enemies around him. Perhaps, it's an internal tick variable for each individual enemy, or perhaps an enemy that passed through the laser when the damage tick occurs, they count as having been hit by it. Either way though, this is a mechanical issue and likely perhaps even a bug when it comes to Neuvillette's performance. So this is a factor for you to decide whether or not you actually want to pull for him and you want to use the spin to win strategy. Keep in mind that I think there is a very, very reasonable chance for MiHoYo to actually quote-unquote fix this bug or to quote-unquote nerf him, however you want to view it. So I would personally wait until the end of his banner before deciding, at least based on if you're one of the ones deciding based on the spin to win gameplay, to make that decision. Now, me personally, how do I feel about this? Honestly, I don't really like it from a game design perspective, and the fact that it kind of singles out mobile players as well as console players from optimizing their Neuvillette play because of the restrictions on each device is a bit unfortunate. And from a game design perspective, right, the game's not intended for you to play like this, right? As funny as it is, this is not a good gameplay experience outside of getting a good laugh and some chuckles. And yeah, it's funny, I get it, but I do think it's a bit goofy from a game design perspective. So yeah, let me know what you think about this ridiculous tech in Genshin Impact. Also, let me know if you guys think that MiHoYo should quote-unquote fix this or patch this or change this so that this spin to win strategy doesn't work anymore. Personally, I think he kind of breaks the gameplay and immersion of it, but at the same time, it's a lot of fun. I'm having a blast with it, and I know some of my friends are having a good time with it as well. So yeah, as always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is I Went to Lose, signing out.